Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Higher Definition Radio, where our goal is to take you higher. I hope everyone had a merry and happy Christmas. I always think about this little period, how quickly people get out of the Christmas spirit and get into that New Year's thought of all the things they leaving in the previous year and these New Year's resolutions. Y'all be doing a lot out here in these streets. Mr. Abel. Oh, let me also say, hope everyone safely made it through the storm and navigated that this morning, because that was a little rough around here. Luckily, it was a fast moving storm, and I saw some reports of a few deaths from trees falling. But yeah, that was a little rough storm. Mr. Abel, how are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Had a good service. Great sermon. Great sermon. Daryl Ponder preached, man. I think he did a great job. And then, had a great lunch. A bit of a sad day. We lost my favorite president. I think the greatest president. But other than that, I mean, he had a good run though. So 100 years old. But other than that, man, doing pretty good.
Everett, don't. You are not invited to speak at my funeral, sir. If I go before you, because this whole thing about a good run, man, I don't think that's the right thing to be saying. But
words of encouragement, man. Words of encouragement. You made 100 years. You good. You blessed.
That's what we're going with, huh?
That's all I got, man.
Shout out to Marlon Davis, who normally leads this topic. And we weren't going to do the show, and then Everett talked me into it. So here we are. We're going to roll this until the wheels fall off in 2024. Shout out to Mr. Davis and his family with the new addition to the family. So happy for y'all. And anytime a new bundle of joy comes into the family, and don't get me wrong, Marlon and Marquisha did not have a new baby, they have a grand. So I don't want y'all to be saying that rumor going around out here in these streets. They got one that they can give back when they ready, the right kind, when you can just hand them back over. Shout out to Pastor C.T. Kirk, who's joining us now. Shout out to everyone that's watching, that's made it this far through 2024. As we have a few more days, and we can never take it for granted that it's promised that we're going to make it into 2025. Tia, how are you, ma'am?
I am doing very well. Doing very, very well. Working from home till beginning of the year, so I'm happy about that. But doing very well. Family's doing very well. I saw someone around our community lost their house yesterday. I think I saw to a fire. So been trying to get the details on that. I saw them post sizes and things like that. So I'm trying to get on board and help this family out. Like they had maybe three kids. It just really grateful, but everybody's not as grateful, recognizing that as we go into the new year. Some people having it hard. So, be grateful for the things that you have, because it's not always that way on, for somebody else.
It's man, you can't turn on the news without seeing death and destruction. And, a lot of times, well, all the time, it should bring it close to home, because that could be you in those spots, or a loved one in those same spots. Right. We are going into 2025 with a new presidential administration, which will probably be a lot weird.
Controversial is the word.
Very controversial to start off the new year with a lot of changes. So yeah, this is going to be a different type of year for a lot of people going into 2025. Everett, let me ask you a question before we get into our topic about leaving into 2024. Do church, and Pastor C.T. Kirk is on, but do churches still have watch night service, or has that died away?
No, people still have it.
Yeah, as far as I know, people have. That ain't something I've done. You know what I mean? Like me, I gotta go work the next day. I don't, you know what I mean? Just 2:30 in the morning and go to work. No. So
my parents already asked us was we coming to church. Like, Mom, you talking about? I'll be popping fireworks.
Watch night services originated through slavery, right? Like that's the real meaning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I heard you say that. I ain't know no research.
Whoa, man! That's just like that's like it's written. If I'm saying it, I got to look that up. Tia, so some churches have a watch night?
Yes, my mom asked me was I coming over to their church, and I did say we was gonna pop some fireworks, and she was like, "You bring them kids on church into the new year," and I said, "I see what we can do one." But yes, people still have it.
So watch night, is that like like where you bring in the New Year or just a Christmas Eve service?
No,
I mean, the New Year's Eve service.
You bring in the New Year, and some of the churches, I don't know if they still serve the breakfast. They do that part, but like you get to church at like 10, and you have choirs.
Yep.
They singing hymns, and that's really what it is. They just singing hymns, and at midnight you go over to the hall and have breakfast. I don't know if the breakfast part is still a part of the service since COVID, but some churches still have it.
I'd be in the bed, man. I'm good. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So you ain't trying to see Jesus in 2025, man. What's going on, man? I don't like
Hey, when Jesus come, he'll wake me up. 2:30 in the morning.
So your sleep more important. Okay, I get where you're going with that.
No, it ain't more important. He will wake me up when he get here. Trust
me. That what we're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus will wake you up when he comes. Okay.
He gonna wake you up or put you to sleep?
Put you to sleep. One of the two, right?
Yeah.
No.
So to your comment about the watch night service on December 31st, 1862, enslaved and free African Americans gathered.
Yeah.
And many of them in secret. I'm actually reading this to ring in the new year and await the news that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. That's when the watch night started.
I'm telling you, we be following stuff, don't be having no idea why we following it. Shout out to all the watch night folks. I guess we still waiting. I guess we still waiting to be free. I don't know, man. Like, or am I missing something? Like,
man, it's not like a tradition, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just it became a tradition over the years. The occasion known as Watch Night or Freedom's Eve marks when African Americans across the country watched and waited. That's why it's called a watch night. They watched and waited for the word to come that they were free.
So let me make sure I got this right. So non-black churches don't do watch night service.
I'm not gonna say that they don't, because I've been to watch night at Elevation, but it's called, they don't call it watch night anymore. Those churches call it, New Year's Eve service.
New Year's Eve service. Okay.
Yeah, they ain't no watch
your New Year's Eve celebration. Black churches, of course, are using the word watch night and supposedly ringing in the new year with God. But the true meaning of it being watch night is because we were watching and waiting for the word on the Emancipation Proclamation.
Man, shout out to churches that are still doing watch night, and shout out to the folks who still participate, and everybody but Everett who said Jesus will wake him up when he come back. So like,
I'm not mad at traditions. Like, that sounds like a good tradition. I appreciate it. I hope we keep it going. Yeah, I gotta go to sleep, man.
Oh, and what Trisha just posted, she just posted the exact same thing that I was reading off.
Okay, good. Yep. Thank you, Pastor Matt.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing that I was just saying. So traditionally, people call it watch night services held annually on New Year's Eve, and includes the memory of slavery and freedom. It's reflections on faith and celebration in the community and strength. Black people being able to come together in their faith, in memory of, slavery, but also being able to come together in a safe place.
So, Pastor Mac, are y'all having watch night service? Pastor C.T. Kirk, are you having watch night service? I'm just curious now, especially if you're serving breakfast. You might get club people to come through, because that's right around that same time, ain't it? 2:30, 3 o'clock, you're getting up out of there.
I tell you what, if the solo church serving breakfast, I'm gonna be getting some breakfast, because that brunch they was having on Thanksgiving was absolutely off the chain. Them women over there, was burning it. They was putting their foot in it.
Well, shout out to the Solo Center and all the other churches out here doing big things. Also, shout out to all the people in 2024 that overcame. Like, 2023 might not have been your year, but 2024, you made progress in life, that you can see you're not what you used to be. Shout out to those people. And I'm not even talking financial. Like, shout out to people who are really, really, really making progress. So, man, hey, Shay.
I got questions, man.
Shay, I'm sorry, I got another question. So, if it's starting at 6 p.m., does it end at midnight? That's a long time to be at the church.
But if you think about it though, how quickly the service goes by quickly, and I'm just saying this because I was a watch night goer for a long time. It goes by really quick. You have if you have a lot of choirs like they used to, and back in the day, have a lot of choirs singing songs, you get caught up in a minute before you know it, an hour done went by, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't know how long theirs would last. Some people do 6 to 10. And people go back home.
Yeah, you gotta let people get that champagne in them and public before me.
Wow, right after you done left the church. Okay.
You think that ain't? Oh, never mind. So again, shout out to the folks who made measurable progress this year. Want to say also for the people that's lost a loved one this year, that maybe this is your first holiday season without your loved one. We lift you up in prayer and lift you up because we understand that we all gonna take our turn on that. We all know that death will pay all of us a visit at some point, and so we're definitely praying for those people who've lost loved ones this year. Some people I know have had a rough year, like a truly rough year with death, and no rhyme or reason, just your time or their time. So definitely we'll continue to pray for them. I want to start out with our Leave It in 2024. And Marlon, this used to be his thing. He used to post for like a week on Leave It in 2024. The easy one, Tia, is stop all these GoFundMes for every little thing. Like folks now put their cash app of it for everything. Do we need to kind of cool it out with this GoFundMe and cash app?
I think leaving the cash app for everything in your birthday. I'm wishing myself a happy birthday, and I leave my cash app in the at the end. Leave the cash apps. GoFundMe's can actually be beneficial to people. For instance, I know there's a GoFundMe up for the family that just lost their house, trying to help them out and things like that. So they can be beneficial. So I'm not going to say leave the GoFundMe's in like a general statement and leave them in the 2024. I'm going to say leave those useless GoFundMe's in 2024. Leave those. I'm going to put my cash app on everything. Everything I post, my daughter's birthday, I'm going to put her cash app up and all that. Man, leave that stuff somewhere. If you want to just ask people for something, just tell them, just send it to you. Drop it off by the house, put it in a card. You don't have to post it on social media. You really don't. If I do it in 2024, somebody be like, Tia, wasn't you saying leave that stuff in 2024? Remind me, because yeah, I was saying that. Yes, I was. Mm-hmm.
Everett, I know you scroll right by anybody asking for money. So and to know Everett is to love them. I know you probably don't even want your social media feed to be clogged up with GoFundMe and Cash App. How you feel about it, sir, in 2024 going into 2025?
Man, I really don't have a problem with it. Just in general, I think we was talking to somebody last week. They said they put their cash app up on their birthday, and I think they got like a couple $100.
$250.
Yeah. So I mean, my thing about it is this: if you don't agree with it, don't donate. And it's a situation that fixes itself. But nah, if somebody want to put it up and then somebody want to give money. And then too, I think it's kind of cool. I don't know why I was laughing because I'm not really used to people putting cash apps and stuff like that. My little cousin, had a birthday and then she put a cash app up. on there. You know, it's like, man, hey, send this girl some money. You know, 'cause I thought it was pretty cool because you know, like you always try to give the little kids something, you know, on their birthday, just a dollar or two, or whatever, and it makes it a lot easier. You ain't gotta put money in the mail. You ain't gotta go drive, you know, 2 hours, you know, just to give somebody $20. I mean, just throw them a cash up. But
so am I hearing you say you gave a dollar or two to your cousin?
I mean, you know, I don't talk about money, man. I'm just saying in general, you know.
I think people have made like a mockery of Cash App. So if anybody puts up anything Cash App, people are just like, they, you know, this ain't for real. They can't take you serious type of thing. But it's not like that in every instance. But one thing Everett did say was, you know, keeping scrolling, like if you putting something up and people want to give you money, then they'll give it to you. But if they don't, you know, just keep it moving. I think that's the next thing to leave in 2024. If somebody posting something on social media and you disagreeing with it, why you always got to comment with it? It's social media. You have the right to keep scrolling. Like, leave that mess in 2024. We out here arguing about someone's perspective on what they thought about a situation. It's their opinion, their perspective. Keep it moving, man. Keep it moving. Like nobody don't. You ain't got to comment. You ain't got to say nothing. Just keep it moving.
I think the world need to hear what I got to say.
Yeah, if you disagree.
Yeah, the world need to hear my opinion.
Background there for the argument, but just keep it moving.
Yeah, man, I ain't saying I'm gonna go back and forth, but like you put something crazy up, and then only people you hear from are the people who agree with you. You could be dead wrong and think you're right. So if I think you're dead wrong, I'm gonna try to give you something else to think about. But I'm not gonna be calling you names, and we ain't about to get no back and forth. If we friends, we're gonna stay friends. But nah, if you're wrong, I just can't sit around and just watch a person be wrong and not say nothing, man. That just
and then Everett has this theory that I've started to follow. Sometimes you just need to hold a mirror up to folks. Sometimes people be on this craziness. You got to let them know that might not be the correct craziness to be on this current time.
I don't disagree with anything you guys are saying, but what I am saying is, if you don't like something somebody is saying or doing, if you disagree, you do have a right to keep on strolling. You don't have to say something. You don't gotta get on there and call them the B word or get on there and cuss them out. You don't gotta do none of that and engage in these huge arguments and do all this stuff. Like, you don't have to do any of those things. Perfect situation. We had a situation with one of our basketball coaches where he said something to the girls and they got in their feelings about it and got upset, and one of the parents went on Facebook and posted a post saying she heard that, you know, he called the girls trash and this and that, but she posted anonymous. You on here posting anonymously in a group and you want somebody to take you serious. First of all, you didn't have the whole story, but second of all, you too much of a coward to even put your name on what you got to say. Like, I can't take you serious. So my response back was, I have a girl on the team. I have an interest in this. So I post back, hey, one, we shouldn't get on social media not knowing what we're talking about. Get the whole story. But two, if parents would stay out of this stuff and let the coach and the kids be kids, we wouldn't have some of these problems. When we was going to school, we got called all kinds of stuff by these coaches. Stop being so sensitive about this stuff. And if you're going to post something and have something to say and got a perspective, definitely leave this anonymous garbage in 2024. Woman or man up and put your name on what you got to say so I can call you out on it.
That's why the Herald don't have comments anymore. Everett, you remember this in our early days of High Definition, like the Herald, you could be anonymous and post stuff. And when you could be anonymous, there's a whole bunch of tough guys out here and calling you all kinds of names. But it's a miracle that once they made you sign into an account and put a name, that all this tough guy stuff. So I hope in 2024, going into 2025, Everett, what do you think? We need to leave the tough guy social media personas along. There's a lot of tough people out here through nothing but the keyboard.
Well, my philosophy is like whoever you are on the street, you need to be that same person on the internet. Because folks gonna see you, and so like I'm not a person who confrontational. Like I don't be looking for a fight, but I try to, even when I disagree with a person, I try to be disagreeable, even on the internet, because like ultimately, like, I'm not really interested in hurting somebody's feelings. I just want you to really think about what it is you thinking, what you're saying, and what you believe in. And then too, a lot of times I will challenge a person's view, not even for the sake of that person, but for the sake of people who are reading what they're saying and listening to them. Because a lot of people might not know, they're very impressionable, and you have to give them a different impression.
Right.
I think the part that irritates me, and I know there's a lot of AI trolls or robots out here, and I know people probably don't even think about this. There is AI technology, and it was employed a lot during the last 2 presidential cycles, that gears to a certain ethnic group, a certain religion, and really goes in. It's just robots just going in on you, and you getting all up in arms, or how you getting your media. We got to be careful with that stuff going into 2025, because there's some people out there that will lose their job, lose their career, lose their whole household arguing with somebody on social media. Like, we got to leave that in 2024. Tia, have you saw some of these posts that
Yes.
you're like, man, this can't be a real person? And
yeah, some people think that a lot of posts that are really just out there to get marketing information. How many people are commenting, how many, what race they are. They're pulling all the demographics and all the marketing data from the background on these people that's making these comments. And it's all for them to make more money off of you engaging and getting into these arguments back and forth. Like, some of these comments, you can actually read into it a lot and be like, this couldn't have been a person.
One of the examples I have, and it's just people being mean, cruel, trolling at every opportunity. Rock Hill has a site called Rock Hill Eats, where it talks about food. Like, it was set up to talk about, anybody know a good restaurant that serves tacos or whatever. Man, if you want to see 80 comments about how you put, I want to go to this Mexicurita, they trash, like, man, that's like, you're just waiting on something to happen to just jump all over it. And I think we got to get out of that. Like, we're raising a generation that's going to follow our footsteps and not have the accountability, or think they have some sense of accountability. To Everett's point, you see people on the street and like, hey, wasn't you the person that said XYZ? Everett, do you follow any sites like that? Like, Rock Hill Eats is a very popular one in this area that talks about food, but man, it's terrible at times.
Yeah, I guess you got to kind of police the site. This is one veteran site I'm on, well, we all on, but like, they real, like, you post something on there, it might take a day for you to even see it. Whoever it is, they reviewing everything that go up.
Yep.
So, and there's a lot of people on that site too. So, I guess you kind of got to do your due diligence on it, or unless you just want a trashy site where folks is tearing each other up. Some people want that. Like, be honest with you, I see this, in a more, I guess, of a more lighthearted sense in some of the I guess they're like sports related sites, and people will make some crazy posts, Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player, something like that, and folks will be going crazy and arguing, but you just see the comments going up, and it's just to generate traffic,
Yes, to the page.
Yeah, so a lot of people just do stuff just to make you click on it and argue, and I fall for it too.
I think we all fall for it.
Man, I think going into 2025, we might need to drop this some of these political conversations political conversations used to be cool at times when you thought you knew who your audience. I contend in 2025, you have no idea who voted for anyone, even your cousins, your whatever that you think rocking and rolling with you. Nah, man, like keep that off social media because you're gonna be end up fighting a whole bunch of people out here. Everett, I know you're a political guy. You might not even agree with me, but man, let me say this from my point of view. I've heard a lot of African Americans that probably voted a different way than traditional African Americans would have voted in this last cycle. And you talking about causing some conflict in families and family dynamics, start talking about that and why you believe that's the case. I just think we might need to go through this next cycle and kind of relax a little bit on that, but I do want to know who you are. Now that I know who you are, I might have to deal with you in a different way. What's your thoughts, Everett?
Nah, man, I'm like I said, I ain't looking for no argument, but I like to understand. I got a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I just can't, go to sleep confused. I need to know what's going on. So yeah, I don't mind, having a little conversation about a little chit chat. Whatever you gotta say about it, let me hear it, and then I'm gonna throw mine in there, and then you just go from there. But I think the thing that one of the things it goes to, a lot of folks don't know how to take their emotions out. You're just too emotionally attached to political candidates, people who it's people treated almost like Cowboys and Redskins. Like, man, you don't know none of these people, you ain't getting none of that money. You probably ain't been to one game of your so-called favorite team, and it's like we gotta take a step back and say, I don't. These aren't my family members, right? I look at all the issues, I weigh the pros and cons, and I decide to go this way or that way, instead of people decide to go one way and then they try to justify everything that their candidate or their chosen party does, which is ridiculous. Like, I don't even agree with myself all the time, let alone somebody in Washington, D.C.
Tia, do we need to leave these political conversations out of 2025?
Yes. If we haven't learned anything in 2024, I think we learned from this election that you don't know who you're talking to half the time or what their political view is. And a lot of times people are engaging in conversations just so they can argue. Jeremy just put up a great comment. You can have regular conversation with regular folks these days that some folks just want to argue with you. They just want to say something about politics just to get in an argument, just so they got something to argue about. They like to argue, and that's all they're looking for. I also think a lot of the political stuff that's going, like, people are so attached to this stuff. It's like Everett said, they can't take their emotions out of none of this stuff. They act like they birthed these people that are in these politics. They act like they birthed these people, like you done lived in a house with them forever and you know everything about these people. Half of the stuff that we see and hear is not even these people. It's campaigning. It's campaign managers. It's campaign. They don't even know half the stuff that's put out there until it's put out there.
Now, when I see you getting emotional, man, I'm gonna get the clowning, man. Like, hey, what? y'all go together now or something? Like, he about to put you in the cabinet. Like, I don't want to stand all the emotion, man. Relax. Like,
hey, you don't know, hey, Monica.
I do have another point, similar line of discussion, but slightly different. When we started talking about supporting local businesses and supporting, for us, Black-owned businesses, and then the owner of the business come out and trash everybody because they ain't bought enough, or like, we probably need to keep that off social media and leave that behind. Because, man, people gonna buy what they want to buy. And I think we ain't got to a point, especially Black folks, they mostly don't care if it's black owned or not. Some people do deeply care. As we're in the season of Kwanzaa, some people deeply care, but for the majority, they don't care if Tommy Hilfiger talk trash about them, Dior. They don't care about none of this stuff. They gonna buy what they want to buy. Like it wouldn't. South Carolina folks know what I'm talking about. The restaurant Maurice's. The owner was openly had thoughts about minorities, and black folks just say, "Hey, that barbecue good," and they still kept going. I just don't understand the logic. Or Everett, am I wrong that we might need to slow up a little bit on this in 2025, trashing folks so they won't support them?
Man, look, I'm for supporting local business, minority business, but at the same time, like I need things to be done, right and in a timely manner. I don't need to be calling you, chasing you down for nothing, professional. So, we had somebody do some work for us, and they it was recommended by somebody who I trust. And the guy's name, when you hear it, I'm thinking it's African American, meet the guy. That's not the case. But he do bang up job, man, good guy. He is where he's supposed to be. He does what he says he's gonna do. The cost is what he said it was gonna be, man. I'm sticking with him. I ain't trying to look for nobody better. That's black. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that if I got somebody good to work with, I'm gonna keep working with them. And that means y'all gotta come take my card, then just tell me where to ship it to.
Sound like that. But a lot of time when people be talking about taking black cards, they ain't riding on this pro black either. And I'll say this before Tia speaks. There's a restaurant that I really like their food, like their quality, African American restaurant in Rock Hill, but they too inconsistent. Like your times ain't your times on the, like, man, what we doing? My food might be an hour wait. I can't do that. Like, I can't do that with you. But I should support, but I gotta have something to support that makes logical sense too. Tia, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are exactly what Jeremy just put up.
Yeah, that's good.
Exactly what he just put up. My money supports good business. I don't care if you black, white, brown, purple, or blue. If the business is good, you have my support. I will be a loyal, faithful customer. But the moment you start getting inconsistent and stuff starts going down, I'm not. I'm not. And that doesn't matter to me what color you are. And I would expect nothing less if I were providing a service to someone. And you say all the time, well, nobody supports me and nobody does this and nobody does that. People have a right to go and support wherever they want. But you too also have a job to act and perform a certain way. You can't be out here saying, I want people, I want the best business from black people, and then all this business and nobody come to your business. But then when people show up, your service is half-assed. You ain't like you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You ain't opening and closing doors like you're supposed to. Everett, I see how you looking, but
Miss Edna May said she was watching, so
I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm sorry, Miss. I'm sorry, Edna May. I'm sorry, Miss Rashford. I'm so sorry, but I'm sorry, but the truth is, if people are doing bad business, they're doing bad business. Like, what are you supposed to say? You call a spade a spade. We out here saying, well, they don't support me, just a little bit of people. Maybe it's because of your attitude. Maybe it's because of your ungrateful attitude. You're ungrateful for the few that are following you.
Well, now I'm in agreement with what you're saying. I just want to make sure that we're not piling on and acting like every black business is bad.
No. I'm talking in general. I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't have said it's fair. A duck is a duck, but I'm not saying this is all black. I'm saying this is any business.
Right.
I would frequent any business that's a good business. I'm not like centering this all or trying to pile anything on any Black business or anything. I have a Black business. I'm Black. Like, why would I do that? I'm not trying to crash out on that. I'm just saying, when you provide a good service to people, they're going to continue to come to you. They're going to continue to use your name and give your name out. Like, word of mouth is the biggest marketing tool you could ever have. So you know what I'm saying? But if I go to you, Everett, and this don't matter what color you is, I'll give you an example. My fireplace went out. I called this guy. Guy said he was gonna be here at X time. I waited and waited. He didn't show up. I came home on my lunch break to wait for him, and then I had to go back to work. So then he calls me when I get back to work, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here." Dude, you were supposed to be here 2 hours ago. You were supposed to be at my house on my lunch break 2 hours ago. Like, I don't have all day to wait for you. And then he's like, "Well, I'll come out again." He never showed. I never heard from the guy. And then when I got somebody else to come out, the guy calls and follows up with me. "Hey, did you get somebody?" Dude, don't call my number no more. Lose my number. Kick rocks. Like, what is this about? And then you see him posting crazy foolish men on Facebook about how people don't support, and you go out to people's house, Black people this, and how they act, and they so rude and this, that, and the other. Show up when you say you're going to show up. Do what you say you're going to do, and you don't have to worry about that Black girl attitude. I take my time out to do something and initiate your service, and this wasn't a Black person. And then you don't act right. Do what you say you're going to do.
Everett, I don't know if you was on the show when Dr. Houston was on, but it sounded like the big wheel getting run over story where Dr. Houston's big wheel got ran over and she's still holding the grudge 40 years later. But go ahead, Everett, you about to say something.
No, I would say, even with all that we've been saying, I still think that we should look to support Black businesses.
I do.
I would say the main reason is because Black people, and I would say most people, most ethnicities, don't have a problem patronizing white-owned businesses. Like, we just do it. Like, even the whole civil rights movement, people were getting beat up for the right to patronize white-owned businesses. I mean, not that wasn't what the whole movement was, but that's part of it, you know. But the same, like, the opposite isn't always true. So if a Black business is going to be in business, then it needs Black support. And then we our country, we need Black businesses, because you can't just, you know, have a group of people who have to go to another group of people to be served and serviced.
No, I think the better lesson is we're talking about leaving in 2024, talking about what we're doing in 2025, is we need to be intentional with our money. Like, we need to be intentional. And Everett, you make up a good point. Like, a lot of minority groups are marginalized because people won't support. Like, there's a certain group that supports, but on the bigger masses, people don't support. So I do think in 2024, we probably need to leave these bad habits alone, and into 2025 be intentional on what we give our attention to, what we give our money to, especially. Man, like your money speaks for you in so many different ways. You agree with that, Tia?
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. You got to be intentional about your money, Mike. You got to be intentional about what you put your thoughts to, about where you spend your time at, moving into 2025. But any year, any day, you got to be intentional about everything that you're doing now. Everything has an effect. If you're not intentional with your money, then you're not intentional in your thoughts. If you're not intentional in what you're thinking about, you're not intentional in what you consider to be a peace of mind. You got to be intentional about everything, because everything builds on top of each other.
No, and I'll give Everett credit before he goes. One of the places we both patronize for Christmas cards and Christian gift stuff, it's the same place in Rock Hill. And on the sidelines, I used to be like, man, there ain't more Christian bookstores or Christian places, or, you know, Christian places got cards. But then my part was, well, I'm not even shopping at the ones that are out there. So Everett gets most of his cards uh, greeting cards from this place, and I had to change my mindset. Like, yeah, this place is going to go out of business if more people are not intentional on how they're spending their money, and that needs to start with me. What are your thoughts, Everett?
Nah, man, shout them out, man. Shepherd's Fold,
Yeah, Shepherd Folds and Rock Hill, Christian bookstore.
Yeah, and like bookstores are shutting down anyway. Christian bookstores don't have a chance. Like, and I get like Amazon so doggone convenient shopping. They gonna have exactly what you want. For the most part in a lot of ways. But if we want things to exist, then we have to patronize these businesses. And then not just patronize them, but support them and tell people about them.
No, and that's be very intentional. So definitely in 2025, be intentional how you spend your money, how you view your money, and how you use it. And people mess up stuff all the time. Like sometimes we'll go into this certain industry because we're supporting, and then they ain't running the money right or something funny going on. We have to also think about McDonald's messes up all the time, and folks continually go back without no problem.
Yes.
Your fries missing out of your bag, your Big Mac missing the patties. So we also got to have a little grace and mercy for people. I'm bring up one that's funny, but it's also serious.
Like Boeing out here crashing planes, and folks still buying plane tickets.
Yeah.
We ain't got no problem. Doors flying off in midair, and we go in the wild blue yonder once again. So again, like we gotta have the same standards across the board, man.
No, as we go into 2025, we all need to get a good prayer life. Let me start off by saying it that way. Have a good prayer life. But some of us need to do our prayer life probably at home, get it where it's a little shorter. I've been to too many things where I think folks just want to hear themselves talk about these, I get it. You get opportunity, you got a microphone, you got everything. But we shouldn't be held hostage for 20 minutes on your prayer. Like, I'm gonna go to Everett.
I think you need to take back Edna's comment up. Your mama watching you. You got to do better with that comment there. Your mama watching this, man. Come on.
My mom and dad are both probably watching, and they probably, listening. And they ain't lived in this earth longer than I have. They know there's some people that's doing a little too much on this prayer. Like, we got to slow up just a little bit. Like, my knees shouldn't be, weak. My legs shouldn't be going numb. My hands shouldn't be sweating as you pray. Like, come on, Everett. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but sometimes we're doing a little too much in our prayer life in public. We need to save some of that for the house.
So you know my feelings on it, but I want to take the opposite point of view just for argument's sake. I believe older people perceive time differently. You know what I mean? It like what's a long time to you is a very short time for them. And I explain to it like this: when you're let's say when you 4 years old, a year is a quarter of your lifetime. You know what I mean? But when you 60, like years just fly by like that. And it's the same way with seconds and minutes. And old people drive slower, they talk slower, they walk slower, everything slows down. So when you think you've been thinking they've been praying for 15 minutes, to them, they just praying the way they always pray. And so I try to not to be so critical to people, but at the same time, man, I think whenever you running a program, you need to be intentional about who you get to do what. Because like we talked about, like you go to a funeral, man, like everybody that do something got to preach a sermon. Everybody, man, Old New Testament. Man, hey, man, look, we done been here 2 hours and we ain't got past the New Testament scripture. Like everybody got got to do their little bit and then throw a whole sermon on top of
it. Everett, go to
in other words,
Jeremy's comment.
Everett, you just need to not get these people to make these long prayers because you know that's what they do. They're gonna do.
Everett.
But you ain't gonna say
that. Everett.
What's that?
What they say? Tell the truth, shame the devil. You might as well go ahead and shame the devil, man. Some people doing too much, like way too much. And shout out to Gene Hunt, Pastor Gene Hunt. I don't know, Gene, a pastor, he might not agree with my point, but some of us doing way too much, man. Say that for your prayer closet. You ain't gotta be doing all that. You just doing. Tia, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna pass on this, Everett. I'm gonna leave this alone.
Yeah, man. Look, I feel you. Like some folks be going a little lengthy.
Yeah.
And some people just long-winded anyway. Like yeah. I guess it's more frustrating to me because like I try to get to the point on what, no matter what it is I'm doing, like whatever the point is, like I want to go straight to the point. Because I just assume that most people don't enjoy hearing me talk. So whatever it is, like I need to get to it. Some folks don't have that, thought process. Like they thinking and talking at the same time, and they haven't thought everything out. And people just process things differently and communicate differently. But yeah, like I said, it does frustrate me also.
Shout out to Pastor Gene Hunt. Prayer should be honest and not a double album. I agree. I'd like to see how pastors handle people praying for a long time. Do you, grab the mic? What do you do? Because, the last thing you want to do with Christian folks is say, go against something that someone's saying God told them. Like, you don't want to cross that path. You can't even touch it.
Well, I don't even want to get into leaving that in 2024, but you think God told you something about me that he didn't tell me?
Tia, see, there you go. You see, people be prophesying. Our whole faith is built on prophesizing. You don't want nobody prophesizing for you. You want them to lead that in 2024?
Okay, we praying to the same God. I'm praying. I'm in my closet. I'm on my knees. But he done told you that I'm supposed to be over here at 2. But he ain't told me.
When Jesus was on the main line, you might have been busy at that moment when he was trying to communicate. So he sent the intercessor.
No, at some point, we got to be in agreement here. We got to be aligned. Like where do we get aligned on what God said about me for me to do? But he didn't tell me what to do. See, I might not show up at 3 because he didn't talk to me. He didn't tell me. You said to be there at 3, but God had me somewhere else at 3:00.
Well, Everett, I am glad that a lot of these proclaim it ministries where you're supposed to touch cars and stuff, we ain't left that. Hopefully in 2023, we don't drag that to 2025. People will be telling you to go do stuff that's totally gonna mess your life up. Go out there and buy that car. God say you can get any car you want. Whoa. Your finances ain't in line. You ain't looked at nothing. I do think we need to leave that in the previous years and don't bring that. Name it, claim it ministries.
Yeah, I'll touch on that, but just a little bit what T was saying. Like I had a coworker, we get along now, but he and we got along then too. We just had this one little moment, but he kept coming to me telling me what the supervisor wants you to do this, the supervisor wants you to do that. And I tolerated for a couple minutes, and then after a while I was like, look, man, that man know where I work at. He know my name, he got my phone number, he got my email address, he got all this. He ain't gotta go through you to get to me. It ain't that hard. I'm not that hard to talk to, and I'm not that intimidating, so if he's scared, just I don't know, man. Write a note and pass it to me. But like I don't like that, like not that I can't have coworkers give me advice or whatnot, but you ain't in charge. So, just relax. And I say that the same way, you know, like I pray, you know, but I just don't believe that God is telling all these people to tell me stuff that he didn't tell me, you know, and some of the stuff ain't in no Bible and ain't written down nowhere. I think a lot of people got a way of passing off their own advice as God's word.
Yes.
Yeah, just say what you think, and then I'm willing to entertain advice, whether it's good advice or bad advice. Like I'll listen to it, but don't try to dress your advice up as the word of God. No.
Yeah, stop lying on the word.
Well, I want to say, Eric just touched on something I want to bring up. Shout out to all the coworkers who think they're your boss. We need to leave that in 2024 because it's some coworkers out there that be thinking they your boss. Like they checking your break times, they checking to see what time you got there, how long your lunch was. Shout out to them people in 2024. That need to end in 2025. We are peers. We are not. We don't have a different relationship. Go ahead, Everett.
Well, look, like I said, I'm talking about two different things, right? One, you telling me that the supervisor told me to do something when he can tell me, you know what I mean? But if I see you doing something out of order, like, hey, I'm trying to help you out, and you ain't gotta listen to it. Like, you gotta pay your own bills. But I can't in good conscience see you, you know what I'm saying, going out on a crash mission, and I ain't say nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey. So but then some people take offense to that, but I still try to be, you know, conscious about, like, hey man, like I ain't signing this person paycheck. You know what I mean? I ain't doing their annual review. So I don't want to be bossy or nothing like that. But then, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes it just depends on the situation, you know. But like I don't mind telling somebody when they're wrong, man, if I feel like they're wrong.
Everett, sound like you operating as the straw, as my mama would say, the straw boss on the job. Sound like you the straw boss and trying to boss people around on the job. Okay, and now we know.
Man, some people need that mirror, man. They just they going around thinking they one thing when they something else. You just gotta, hey, that's you right there.
Tia, have you ever encountered coworkers who think they your boss?
Yes, trying to check to see what time you coming in. They looking at the clock. They observing when you coming in, observing when you leaving, messaging your boss, telling your boss she was in at this time, she left at this time. Listen, ain't no way you doing your job and you watching me like this. There is no way. It's impossible for you to be doing your job. But then, like Everett was saying, like, I'm that person, like, I'm a follow the process, I'm following the procedure, right? So if you're doing something that's out of line in the process of what you're supposed to be doing, I'm gonna be that person to check you on it, because 9 times out of 10, I'm checking you on it because I'm probably gonna have to be the person to square this up later. You're going to be coming asking for questions, you know, asking questions or something like that later, and I got to fix the issue. So I'd rather you do it right from the jump. So I'm going to try to correct you, but then don't get teed off because I tried to correct you and tried to help you out and do something the right way, and just be like, well, you know, you leaving at such and such. Listen, you worry about you at work. I'm leaving, and I done had these conversations with my own manager and my own boss. I don't need to have these conversations with my cube mate, my neighbor, whatever, across the hall or down. I don't need to have those conversations with you if I've already cleared this and squared this up the way that I'm supposed to with the right people. I don't need you in my business like this, because this ain't going to end well for either one of us at the end of the day when I be like, I'm going to need you to mind your business and stay in your lane.
Oh, I guess we definitely need to leave that in 2024. Stop operating as the straw boss. Go ahead, Everett. Like you
I got one more caveat. If I gotta stop what I'm doing to go over there and help you doing what you're doing, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. You don't get to tell me how to help you. I'm gonna tell you how this thing gonna go, because both of us ain't gonna be here being all inefficient and unproductive. Like, nah, we're gonna step this thing up. We're gonna do it a whole different way because you can't handle it. That's why you called me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, y'all are funny. Hey,
Are
shout
we
out to
funny?
all the people.
I hadn't heard you say anything about this month. Like, somebody clocking your time. You the boss. Like, who clocking your time? Like, you had experience with this? Because I don't see how this would go well.
No, it won't go well for me if you out here worried about my time. That's one. And I guess now I've been a manager a while. There are some, should I say haters? There's some haters out there who always looking for an angle to get to the next level, or people who are trying to take a step up off your back. That won't go well. But I'm different. I'll confront you the first time I hear you out here worried about where I'm at. I'll call you.
Yes.
Hey, I heard you worried about what I'm at. What's up? Like, I think we have to confront things in 2025 and not let them fester, because the same people will do this over and over and over if you don't say nothing to them, because they, for some reason, think they need to understand exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it.
I 100% agree. They'll keep on doing this until you check them. But the problem is they try to do this stuff in secret, so you don't know who they are and they can't be checked. But the moment you find out,
boy.
Yeah,
Gene, they telling God? Who they telling on you? Like, shout out to the people who's telling God on the pastors out here.
They telling the Mother Usher he ain't wearing the right shoe.
Now, boy, you talk about in church doing this secret whisper campaign. Boy, that thing can be something else. Like the most meetings for church happen outside the church walls in the parking lot. Like, you want to know what's really going on, go out in that parking lot. That's what people doing to letting people know what ain't going right.
Same folks that stand up and say, God told me to tell you. God told me this is what we need to be doing. No.
Yeah, well, you do have that, and that's one issue. And I don't really know exactly what Gene is going with this, but in church, people don't like to have direct confrontations.
Nope.
Or we want to have the appearance of agreement, but then when you don't agree with something, then you got to tell somebody. So you end up telling somebody when you got nothing to do with it, and it's a bunch of back channel talk behind people's back. When the best way to handle it is just one-on-one and try to figure it out. But I think a lot of times people feel like if we disagree on anything, then somehow we're ungodly. Nah, man, we human. Like, sometimes it's gonna be a disagreement that we got to figure out. But I can't figure out a disagreement with Lamont by talking to Tia about, like, what's she gonna do?
See, you sound like me, Everett.
Did you say we need to talk, Everett? Did you say you need to go one-on-one and have a conversation with people? Like, that's not happening in 2024. So you definitely need to lead that in 2024 and talk directly to people. If somebody's saying that such and such said something, then you need to go directly to the source and get to the root of the problem. We don't need to circle around you, whoever brought you the information, because 9 times out of 10, they ain't bringing it right. The information is not correct. You need to go directly to the person. So yes, we need to lead that in 2024 and be intentional in our communication and direct.
I'll give you a real example from today, and shout out to Union Baptist Church for all the great things Union Baptist Church has done in my life. But I'm gonna give you a real example. But shout out to anybody who's watching from Union Baptist Church. We were in the back with our Pastor Francis and some other members. There was some bulbs out, and they were fluorescent bulbs, and they were talking about buying new fluorescent bulbs. And I was like, no, we do not need to buy fluorescent bulbs. It makes no sense. Like, technology had moved too far. Why are we still buying fluorescent bulbs? And then the conversation kept going, and they were still talking about them fluorescent bulbs. I was like, hey, Pastor Francis, let me be clear to you. We will be wasting money if we go and buy more fluorescent bulbs. Let's not do this. And he looked at me. He said, well, I know I can get a direct answer from you. Yeah, because we're not doing, I don't want to say unsmart stuff. We're not doing good stuff by doing that. So shout out to the people who are not afraid to have direct conversations and stand on what they mean. Even if a person doesn't like it, at least they know where you stand. Ever, you giving me that look.
Yeah, no, that's what we got part ways because I'm not about to argue over no light bulbs.
I'm not arguing over light bulbs. I'm just letting you know my point. And
okay.
You think that's arguing over light bulbs?
No, I'm just so what? I guess I ain't. What's the difference in the cost? Like what we talking about?
Well, one for LED lights will last like 200 times longer than a fluorescent bulb. Fluorescent bulbs use more power, and they go out constantly. Like if one go out, all of them out. It's not a smart move. What we doing? Oh, my bad.
Be a good steward, man. Be a good steward.
Yeah. You got to say it the right way. I'm just saying the way you presenting it here just sound a little aggressive, man.
Shout out to church member, South Carolina state delegate, former councilwoman Nikita Jackson. Yeah, we got to be good stewards. Nikita, I should have said that. We got to be good stewards of our money. Yeah. I should have used that way. I'm glad we're doing this show tonight by leaving it.
You and kicking over tables, talking about we doing dumb stuff. I
try to have direct conversations, Everett. 2025 is coming in. We probably need to leave some of our relationship statuses off social media. Posting these pajama pictures, bayed up pictures. We be doing too much. Like, we probably need to leave some of that alone. Tia, you giving me that look. You matching pajamas? What we doing?
It might be matching pajamas. It might be matching t-shirts because
I like t-shirts.
I'm make a t-shirt for every vacation, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm gonna have that. Like they know this. Like I'm coming up with an idea for something about that. So I'm not in agreement on
bringing them into 20. So you're not leaving that.
No, I'm not leaving that in 2024. I'm already planning a vacation for next year, and I'm already working on a t-shirt. What are you talking about?
Everett, Mr. Abel, what you got to say, sir?
I'll say, man, to each his own. That ain't my thing.
T-shirt.
Far be it for me to tell somebody how to love somebody and how to show their love and affection. So if you want to show your love and affection for your boo, whatever, about matching pajamas, and everybody cool with it, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Like where I get off telling people what they can and can't do. But as for me and my mouth, we got our own pajamas.
I think we just need to like define what you're talking about, because I don't think we're being clear in what we're saying. Like you're saying matching pajamas. Most people are only doing that for picture purposes. They're not actually walking around the house all the time with matching pajamas on. It's for a picture. That's the way I understand it. That's my perception. Like you do it for the photo, and then it ain't like you walking around the house all the time when you got on matching pajamas.
I ain't worn no pajamas since I was a kid, man. I can't see it.
So what are your thoughts then about, like, you go take a family photo and everybody wearing jeans and everybody wearing a white shirt? Like, I consider the pajama pictures the same thing.
No.
Nah, because I like, when was the last time I took pictures in the pajama? I was like 8 years old, man. I'm a grown man. I'm not taking no pictures in no pajamas. Like, what are you talking about?
But I just asked about like
if somebody else want to do it, I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying I don't see no scenario unless I'm laid up in the hospital and I can't grab a camera out your hand. You gonna get a picture of me in the pajamas? It's not happening.
Okay.
But again, like I said, I ain't knocking nothing. If somebody want to do it, like, I'm entertained by it.
Now that's a good comment. Put the next comment up, Everett. Now this goes into the bonnet conversation and do-rag conversation. We need to lead this in 2024 wearing this stuff out in public. Now I've traveled a lot and I see it more and more in airports with bedroom shoes. Come on, y'all. We got to lead us in 2024. Like, if you a guy and you got a wave cap on constantly every time I see you, when do you show your waves? Like, when are your waves ever showing? Because all I see is Everett. I'm gonna ask you, because this bonnet and do-rag stuff and got out of control in these in bedroom clothes out in public.
So I got definite feelings about like Alderman Davis. I got definite feelings about bonnets and do-rags in public. Yeah, that's a fact. And but
Everett told him matching nothing, no shirts, no nothing.
Oh no. Hey, if we come out the room matching, I might go back and change clothes. I'm saying allegedly.
Let me say this before you say it, Everett. Shout out to my parents who dress alike almost everywhere they go. At all times, matching shoes,
color coordinated.
Shout out to my parents, man. They're the true example. But go ahead, Everett.
No, you asked me. I can't remember what
the bonnet. I was asking about the bonnet.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, you know me. I'm anti-bonnet, anti-do-rag, anti-pajama, anti-flip-flops, bedroom shoes, all that. But one of the things I do try to watch myself is whenever something that comes out is new and it's different and it's started by young Black people, it's always demonized. And it's treated as if it's deviant behavior instead of just something that's different and new. And every other culture can create things and try and experiment with fashion, and it just kind of skate by. There was an incident. This is during the Bush administration where some young white girls went to the White House and they were wearing flip-flops in the White House. And all of a sudden now flip-flops are acceptable everywhere almost. And it's something about when we do something, then it becomes attacked by other people and by us. And even though I got personal feelings about it, and we talk about this, a lot, and I don't like it. Like I don't want to get in a situation where I'm trying to demonize young Black people for being themselves, and again, I don't like it's a lot of stuff I don't like, but I don't want to make my own personal pet peeve somebody else's morals.
You're a good guy. You're a great guy, man.
I'm just trying not to be a bad guy.
Tia, you okay with the bonnet and do-rag, bedroom slippers, like that trend with bedroom shoes? And bedroom shoes are not even made to be worn on rough surfaces, so they'll start to get the holes under the bottom. Are you okay with this?
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, don't wear no bedroom shoes outside your home. You can walk to your car in your yard, but do not come into the grocery store. Jeremy, don't come into the Walmart with your bedroom shoes on, because no, they were not made for those places. No, they're called bedroom shoes for a reason. Or house shoes in the house. No. I disagree with Everett about the flip-flops. I will wear flip-flops anywhere. I wear flip-flops. No, flip-flops.
But they're shower shoes though.
No, there's flip-flops.
But there's shower shoes. Trust me.
No, there's flip-flops. There's regular flip-flops, and then there's flip-flops. Like I got some leather flip-flops. Like no.
So leather bedroom slippers is cool. What line? That's all I'm saying.
You just disagree with flip-flops, so you want to generalize or demonize flip-flops because you don't like flip-flops. But flip-flops are different than house shoes. Just like I don't think you should be wearing no bonnet to the grocery store. I'm sorry. I disagree with this. And I know people probably going to eat me up about it, but whatever. I'm not going to no grocery store with no bonnet on. I'm not. I'm going to go to the grocery store with a hat on. I'll put a toboggan on before I go with a bonnet on my head. I'm not showing up at the school for a meeting with my kids' teachers with with no pajamas, no bedroom shoes, and no bonnet. I'm not doing that.
So if you go back, I don't even think you got to go back 100 years, not even that long. It was fashionable for white women to wear bonnets. like you go back and look at all the pictures, like everybody wore bonnets.
But
But
there's a reason why, right?
But okay, go ahead. What's the reason
But
why?
it was head lice. Like people tried to contain things around food and social anxiety. And I think that's a whole show we should do. Like some of these trends and stuff, a lot of them had to do with death and disease or destruction. Like people were just doing things because they were trying to keep other people safe.
No, so here's the thing.
A bonnet was also nationality. Is from European culture. It's a European hat wear. When you talk about bonnets and stuff, we've turned bonnets as in hats, a bonnet where you tie and wear it, tie around your chin. We've turned that into a bonnet. We cover our head and we're going to wear this out everywhere like a bonnet hat, like they wore on Little House on the Prairie. That's a real, true bonnet.
So you cool with the Little House on the Prairie bonnet, but not the.
It's a hat. It looks like a hat. It even has a bib on it. It looks like a hat.
Man.
You put a bib on it, it's good. We can roll with it. It's
okay,
fine.
You don't even like bonnets either.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't like it, but I don't want to demonize it just because I don't like it. Like
no, I'm not demonizing it. I am saying I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't prefer it. I have friends that will. I've seen them out with a bonnet on. I've called and been like, I don't want to see you back out with that on no more. Like, if you're going to be out, you're not going to be standing around talking to me. Like, why? Put a hat on. What are you doing?
Shout out to all the folks out here making life and death decisions on bonnets and do-rags and all this other stuff.
So seriously, I'm being serious now. So when you show up in certain places and you present yourself in a certain manner. Like that's why I said I would never show up at the school with pajama pants and bedroom shoes, slides. I might show up if I'm in some jogging pants, if I'm going in to sign a kid out, in some Crocs. But if I'm going for a meeting, at the school to meet my kids' teachers, to sit down for parent teacher or talk to the guidance counselor or something like this. Listen, Tia's showing up dressed to the nines because I want to be taken serious. I just don't believe people will take you serious if you show up at the school or you show up at any place of business where you got to do business and you dress like you about to go to bed. I don't think you could be taken serious, and I don't think people will respect you the same way they would if you showed up like you were standing on business. I'm showing up dressed to the nines with my heels, my boots, my whatever, dressed to the nines like I came to talk professionally and straight up about my children. I'm not showing up like I'm here to make jokes about what you're talking about.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but a lot of things change with times. I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like we sound like the old people who get mad at us for wearing our hats backwards, or
there's a time
you're not going to get a job with fat shoestrings in your shoes, and like people had these. Like at some point, man, people just being kids, man, and they go through phases, and
But things that we grew up doing or not doing have become a norm now. So they're a lot more socially acceptable, a lot more acceptable. So I can remember when I grew up, my mom would wear hair rollers in her head and she would put a scarf on and tie it to the front and put a nice little bow on it. And she would go out like that and go to the grocery store. But a whole lot of other women went out that way too. And that was considered to be fine and okay. But would you catch my mama doing that now? No.
No, I can't tell you how many times I would get in trouble for having my shirt tail hanging out. Now they make shirts designed for the shirt tail to be hanging out. And I think a lot of times, again, just because I don't like something don't mean I gotta. And I don't think any of us are saying that these are moral issues. These are our own personal pet peeves, things we like, things we don't like.
Correct.
And I think we pretty much agree on the things we don't like. It just don't. Like I try not to get enraged over it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I don't get upset about it, but there's just some things in some places that I just feel like certain things are not acceptable to do. That's like being at work. So we had a show about this a few, I don't know, maybe months ago, where we talking about we do things at church or we dress a certain way at church, but we would never do these things on our job. I feel the same way about certain things that we're talking about. Like, you would never dress a certain way on your job, or that you would choose to wear out to the club and stuff like that. If you left the club and went straight to work at your office job, sitting at your desk, you wouldn't wear them clothes. You would change your clothes.
Well, let me say this, and I know we got to end up wrapping, but there is a different culture or a set of norms out here from a younger generation. It used to be if you were for a job interview for men, it was suit and tie. Like, that's most of the time how you showed up, almost no matter what the job skill set was calling for. I interview a lot of people who, it might be a t-shirt on, no matter what they qualification. It's just a different culture out here. And to Everett's point, you don't want to sound like the old man on, the old people saying, hey, this is terrible. But I think social norms are good. And we've let that erode somewhere. And I don't know how you pull that back around, because, being professional, to Gene's point, that ain't in the cards for some people. Some people have this come as you are mentality in the world and at church. Y'all don't want me to get on that white shoe ministry right now, but it's just a different standard. This has been a great conversation. The three of us are friends, are very close friends, and just talking about our experiences in life. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you laughed a lot at what we're talking about, because, we're going into a new year, and some of the things we are doing, we do need to leave in this current year, and get ourselves more ready for our future, not our past. And I think a lot of times we're so focused on the past, we can't move into our future. And we can say that from a spiritual standpoint, a financial standpoint, a relationship standpoint, that we 100% need to get ourselves focused on our future self, not our past self. Tia, any final thoughts, ma'am?
Just agreeing with what you say. Like, it's not arguing. It's like being passionate about your opinion or whatever. Like, we're not arguing about anything by any means. Trust me about that. Yeah. But just a lot of the things that we want to leave behind, and it's socially okay right now, doesn't mean that a month from now or 2 months from now that it won't be like, this isn't socially acceptable. Let's not, and I just put this comment up, but let's not mix up fads and culture. We need to understand culture, and we need to understand fads that are created in our culture. And we think that those fads are acceptable because everyone is doing and everyone is on this fad or on this trend right now. We shouldn't mix up those things with what is actually acceptable and right. Just because we have a lot of generations coming along and they're doing certain things doesn't mean that we as adults or parents don't teach our kids the proper way to do things. Like, you see somebody, and Mike will agree with this, you see young people showing up and they wearing t-shirts and jeans to interviews. We've pulled young people aside and said, hey, next time, do these things. Like, this will get you, further. This will get you further along in the process, further along. You give them the right advice. You advise them, you coach them on, how to do this better the next time, so that this doesn't become something that they think is okay. Because just because we look at it and we think it's okay doesn't mean the next person will. But there's a lot of things that have to be left in 2024, but it's up to the person, right? It's up to perspective of what people think they should leave and what people think they should and shouldn't be doing. We just talking about what we think and what we like and what we don't like.
Absolutely. And to your point, I tell everyone that I'm mentoring for work, you got to look the part, you got to talk the part, and the very last thing you got to do is know the part. I know that sounds counterintuitive to a lot of people, but people perceive what they see. If they perceive you don't look that part or you can't talk that part, you ain't gonna make it nowhere. Last thing you got to do is know the part. Like, people will show you how to do XYZ, but you got to at least look like you belong there and belong in that setting. So that's my advice, work-wise, to anyone. Definitely look the part that you're going for. Mr. Abel, any final comments, sir?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what T was saying in her last statement. If you just look at fashion trends and just the culture of fashion, there's certain fashions that go back hundreds of years. Like, you could take somebody from 100 years ago in a particular outfit, put them in 2025, and they don't look too far out of place. I mean, the buttons might be a little different, but it's the same type of clothing. And so there's certain looks that are timeless, and then there's certain looks that are dated. You know, I would say we all, but not me. Most of y'all have these pictures where you are embarrassed of when you go back and look at them. Like, I'm really particular about not wearing outlandish get-ups that I'm gonna be ashamed of in 20 years from now.
Pajamas.
Yeah. Jerry curls, the 20-foot hair. Like, I wasn't doing none of that stuff. But at the same time, I try not to demonize it, because I understand that the culture changes, people are different. And one thing I was looking at also is that I believe like 20 years ago, Mike Tyson got that face tattoo, and it was the most ridiculous thing. He'll never make anybody any money. He'll never get another endorsement deal. Every comedian had a joke about it. And now you see Mike Tyson, you don't even see that face tattoo. And he's doing commercials. He got a podcast. He's more famous and marketable now than he was before he had a face tattoo. I'm not saying that the face tattoo made him more marketable. I'm just saying it didn't hurt his marketability. And I think a lot of times we try to hold this generation to the standard of the last generation, and I don't think it's fair to either generation.
I want to say thank you for the people that's watched, listen tonight, listen this year, caught part of our shows this year, year 17. So we've been doing this for quite a while. For all the guests we've had over this past year, we've at least had 50 weeks worth of guests this year. And, you know, a lot of mixing of professions and not only professional, but everyday people. Like, that what makes Higher Definition. So definitely wishing everyone a prosperous end of this year, a rejuvenation of your mind, body, and soul going into 2025. Want to thank Everett, Tia, Marlon, that make up Higher Definition for what it is. And, you know, we all, it's like making sausage. We all got different parts that we do. And, you know, people just see the back end or this right here and think it's seamless. But yeah, it's sometimes a struggle getting things pulled together, because we all have our own life things we're working on also. So I want to say a special thank you to Everett, Tia, and Marlon for what they do. I also want to say, as we go into 2025, understand who you are as a person. Don't take that 2024 person with you into 2025. Make sure you improve yourself. Make sure you've done everything you need to do. Jelly shoe. Make sure you have done everything you need to do to improve your circumstance. And I hate to say this, but no one is coming to rescue you. You know, no one. If you putting your hopes on this current administration or the next administration, you're going to be very disappointed moving forward. No one is coming to rescue you. You need to figure it out. So definitely thank you for even listening to what we have to say and laughing with us a lot. Everyone got sleepy. Early bedtime, I guess. So I want to thank you look like
barbecue. Barbecue got me.
Well, we got to get a serious show next week, because we ran about 2 straight non-serious. We're gonna be back on our regular track. next week. So thank you, everyone. Please be safe. Have a blessed New Year's. Be safe. There's a lot of still drunk drivers out there in these streets on New Year's Eve. If you're going to watch night service, sound like they all early now, so people can get home and have a drink at the house. That's what it sounds like. But shout out to all the watch night services that are going on and all the people who are participating. Have a blessed and safe New Year's celebration. We'll see you in 2025.
And
Happy
Mark,
New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. Before you jump off, I want to give my cousin a shout out, Miss Lila. She's been a faithful watcher. And I just want to give her a shout out. If you need a sweet potato pie, y'all, let me tell you something. Get up with Miss Lila. She got your sweet potato pie.
Miss Lila.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, her name Lala. I know she can bake something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You need a sweet potato pie, some good old baked beans, and some sauce. Ooh, honey. Get up with Lila.
Everett using stereotypes. I know her name Lila. She must can bake something. Come on. I don't think they make Lilas no more either.
Hey, if she can't bake, that's false advertising.
Yeah.
Hey, ain't nobody like her.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Have a blessed and safe New Year.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.